It is indeed. I think time penalties have costed GB multiple wins over the course of this race. Gillen continues to pull through. We'll keep an eye on how we go. Apologies for any drop in quality. We will try and get back to you as soon as we possibly can. And it is one of those things that we will try and solve in the imminent future. Well, in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, it certainly will, as we are carrying on the racing here. As Gillen now going to make another move. Kraek sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Starting to pull back, maybe, on those medium tyres as moves are being made. Gillen now up into 11th place. And will they go down the inside of Infratic? No, a little bit too far back on this occasion. But Gillen is firing through the grid at the moment. From last now up to 11th. Looked very good so far in the opening stage of this race. Matty D has dropped off the back of this pack a little bit. Under pressure from Hayden Gullis. Razin Shai in second now, lost out to Meraki, who still leads this Grand Prix. And Matty, I wonder what's happened. Has Matty got a bit of damage, or has he just dropped off the back of this crew?
I think him and Hayden potentially having a good old scrap down in P18 and P19, but it hasn't been a race to remember for Ultra Killer at the moment, down in P20, 1.9, now cresting that 2-second mark over to Hayden Gullis. It's incredibly frustrating to see the drivers driving off into the distance, knowing everything you can do to try and catch up to the guys in front. Dragonflies, of course, with that earlier crash in qualifying, trying to beat out Punju, but the lead of the Grand Prix still remains the same. It's Meraki from Razin Chai, Kryzix as well in that battle for the podium positions, and all being well and not expecting a safety car later on, this could be our podium in 44 laps time.
Well, you've cursed it now, TK. That means that none of them are going to be on the podium in 44 laps time. Something we should mention here, TK, there seems to be some groups forming, as you said. The front three are all together, and there's a 3-second gap. But Lottie Noba, Dakno Vince, Dark Viper, Noguera, and GB all together, because Ricky has dropped off GB by about 1.3 seconds. As now the front three are going to swap again. Razin Shai going to pull to the right-hand side and get past Kryex. And we do apologise if there's any drop in quality at the moment. We are trying to work on it just to make sure it's all good.
Yeah, Razin Chai leads this Grand Prix. We're being told that the reason for this is someone's phone was overheating. It's been put outside in the cold, so hopefully the air cooling will certainly help it. Meraki retaking the lead of the Grand Prix, and that is a sign there that Razin and Meraki are working together. Razin was letting Meraki through, allowed the overtake to happen with the DRS assistance, and the gap they continue to pull from Lolly Nova further behind is impressive. 4 seconds in just 6.5 laps of racing so far. This could be an almighty partnership at the front of this Grand Prix.
GB just sent it down the inside of a Mercedes, but didn't make it stick. Yeah, he did. He tried to go around the outside of this section. It's very dangerous to do. But he's really on the charge to try and get past... he got past Dark Viper. He just needs to get past Maguero now. It's absolutely flying, is the Aston Martin. I don't know if you remember this, TK, but going back to a real-life race around here, 2021 was quite a season. Do you remember a certain Aston Martin driver by the name of Sebastian Vettel, who's done something very similar to what GB's doing right now?
I certainly do. I think a lot of people will remember certain Sebastian Vettel doing what we're seeing GB doing here, but I'm hoping that it'll be more favourable in the eyes of GB this time around.
Well, of course, Sebastian finished second that afternoon. Can GB go one better? But he's currently in P7 right now. Still a long way to go in this Grand Prix. On lap 7. He's in P7. Can he get P6 going on to lap 8? He may be a little bit too far back, but Noguero is just holding on to Dakno Vince's DRS. So that's not helping GB. Lovely helicopter camera there, by the way. Lovely seeing the cars from above. Doing a great job is the film crew. And the front three still pulling away. They, even with all their battling, TK, they're still managing to pull away as Razin now pulls in front of Meraki once again to take the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
You say this is with all their battling, but actually this is them working together. They're allowing each other to pass with the DRS assistance, trying to pull each other through and avoid Lolly Nova trying to gain any time with them. Kryzix, I mean, is sat on the back of this duo, just enjoying the pull that he's getting with the DRS assistance. He'll be sat there charging the battery, not damaging his tyres too much, and it's a good strategy from the Alpine driver. But Razin and Meraki continue to work together, try and pull through the field, but every twist and turn, they seem to be losing.
Yeah, it certainly has been. They've not really been able to keep up with them. And I wonder what that is. Do you think it's a setup-based thing, or do you think it's a pace? Because that's 4 seconds right now. You wouldn't expect that kind of gap so early on in this race.
I don't think it is. I think it's a combination of the front three working together here and actually the back pack starting to fight even more considerably. It's that quintet, Lolly Nova, Vince, Naguera, GB and Dark Viper. They're fighting. They're not working together to try and pull through the field again.
That's not teamwork. They're not doing teamwork very well here. And Tom is trying to get past... Tom is trying to defend, I should say, from Sapso. Not been the best afternoon for the Alpine driver right now. Didn't qualify amazingly well as Meraki takes the lead of the Grand Prix once again. As it looks like Alex Gillen's running up from the race. Got a radio here. I think we should attack right here. Well, that makes sense to me, as Gillen is going to go down the inside on Ricky and into the top 10. As, was that a bit of front wing, or was that just a fan celebrating? I think it was a fan. As GB also makes a move on Naguero. He's into P6. The Aston Martin driver has made that move stick.
Yeah, Kryzix as well up to P2, managing to pip out Meraki, so starting to get involved in that teamwork. But as you said, GB now up 9 positions in this Grand Prix. Alex Gillen up 11 in the opening 8.5 laps of racing. People really starting to shuffle positions. And Tom stuck all the way down in P12. He wanted the wildcard, he wanted the smoke. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be paying off for him this afternoon.
He's not going to get the smoke this afternoon at the moment. Currently sitting, well, as you said, P12 on lap 9. He wanted to attack here, but he didn't get it. He didn't attack. He stayed where he was.
He did indeed. I think he's just going to sit patiently, maybe try and wait, save some tyres. We don't quite know when that rain's going to come in, of course. We're expecting it at some point in this race afternoon. But the skies above us in Azerbaijan at the moment looking rather sunny. Not many clouds, if any, in the sky.
Now, of course, the thing is, we don't know exactly approximately when the weather is going to turn up. If there's, say, a safety car, TK, that it could extend the race longer. Tom's rear tyre just steps out once again.
Yeah, maybe just struggling with some overheating issues, being stuck in the pack. We quite often notice engines will get rather hot, but the story at the front of the race here is Kryzix has jumped both Razinchai and Meraki. He was quite happy sitting in the back for the time being, but now he's decided he wants to lead this trio through lap 10 of the Grand Prix, and we continue through. We're being told as well, 1 hour for rain in this Grand Prix. 90 minutes was full wet. So this is going to be interesting to see how this Grand Prix goes, because I think that's going to be around lap 40, if my maths is correct.
Yeah, it's going to be later on in the Grand Prix, and it's going to really affect things, as GB is affecting things again. He's up into P5, as Kryx was defending there from Razinchai. One of the mediums are starting to take their control. Well, I say that, but GB's still on the softs, isn't he? He's still making moves.
He is indeed. Maybe this is just drivers, I think Razin and Meraki maybe just burning up their tyres. Of course, all the force of the airflow coming over their tyres. They continue to lead this Grand Prix for the first 9 laps, maybe pushing a little bit too hard to try and break away from Naguera, but now they can try and reel them in. GB will be eager to try and get back that distance to our front three, get back within the podium opportunities, because at the moment he finished P2 last time out in Season 5, so well versed here at Azerbaijan, especially the Baku City circuit. I think if he wants to end up on the podium like we saw last time out, he's got some work to do. Someone who's got more work to do, though, is Tom. He's down at P11, finished in the race lead last time around.
Yeah, I wonder what's happened this afternoon. Obviously, he didn't qualify very well, but we've seen that people that haven't qualified well have made their way through the pack, like Gillen, like GB, and Tom has just not been able to go anywhere. He's stayed in 11th place. He's still behind in Pratic, who I believe qualified ahead at Gillen's radio. Struggling with the rears, and you kind of expect that. The soft tyres do not last very long. I know it's 100% race and it kind of changes the depth of tyres. GB makes another move. He's up into the top 4, TK.
Wow, who would have seen this coming? 11 positions for GB, 11 positions for Alex Gillen. 2 drivers that qualified not in the most ideal of situations, really making their early race pace work. GB almightily focused on the screen that stands in front of him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's talking to his chat, also known as his race engineers. And the gap now stands at 4.2 seconds to Razinchai. We will keep an eye on that delta because he's got an almighty gap to try and claw back.
Yeah, and without that DRS advantage and without that, well, he's got a little bit of ERS. He's not going to have any slipstream effect. The best thing for GB right now is if he can pull out of the DRS range of Lolly Nova. Well, that's going to be easier said than done.
It certainly is. We'll keep an eye as it progresses. Not only does he have to break away from Lolly Nova, he's got to try and gain to Razinchai, Meraki and Kryzix, who continue to work together over the course of this lap. And actually GB is continuing to lose time. So when does he start to try and reel off? When does he take that step back? Maybe start to pray for a safety car in this situation to naturally bring the grid back together?
I mean, I don't know what the plan is. He's obviously made his way up into P4. That's a good, solid position to stay with. But he's going to be under a lot of pressure now down the back straight from Lolly Nova, if not been overtaken by him. And maybe his teammate as well, that guy Vince, because they are all very close to each other. And all of GB's hard work may fall down the wire here as Lolly Nova makes it past. That guy Vince also makes it past. And GB back down to P7. And Naguero makes it past as well. And it all fell apart in about, one main straight, TK.
Yeah, I think Dark Viper wanted to move. Sorry, Vince wanted to move for a second. Dark Viper's just a little bit too far back on this occasion. We are hearing that Infratic has wing damage down in P10. So the Scuderia hasn't had the best race. His teammate, of course, up in our leading trio. And that could explain why the other Scuderia hasn't had the best of pace. And, of course, the rain coming through at the end of the Grand Prix. Hayden Gullis over Team Radio. Wing damage. And that is fairly self-explanatory for the driver down in P17. I wouldn't be surprised if Matty also has some damage to the Kick Sauber. Yeah,
it looks like front right end plate damage on Hayden Gullis's car. And that is going to definitely impede his pace here this afternoon. Of course, there is Hayden's stats, 53 starts, 243 points, 1 podium, and of course, as the one hole to his name, Hayden Gullis is a fraud according to the star that's been written there. Not a win yet. Unless something magical happens, I don't think it's going to change here this afternoon.
I don't think it is. At the moment, it hasn't looked like the best of races for Hayden Gullis. Who knows? A safety car can cause chaos. We've seen that time and time again in the Creator Series, especially if you look back at the last few weeks of racing, because it has been incredibly close as we come up towards the line, and all it takes is one driver to make a tiny mistake, end up in the wall, and Bert Mylander is summoned out to slow the grid down. All our drivers making their way through Dragonfly Corner nice and calmly. To start lap 13 of 31, Meraki will retake your race lead as we start on to that lap.
You certainly will. It looked like Raven wanted to move as well, but thought better of it rather than diving down the inside. It's interesting, TK, that we heard Gillen say on the radio that he's struggling with his Riz as Tom is making the move down the inside of around the outside of Infratic, I should say. Infratic starting to really struggle there. I think he's actually backed off even more, which has allowed Safso to go past. Safso's tapped the wall though, and it's allowed Infratic to get straight back past him, and it's also going to open the door for Mr. Dale, who's going to have a look, but doesn't have the straight line speed. But Safso backs off and allows Dale through. Big mistake there from Safso. But yeah, what I was saying, TK, about the rear grip is Gillen has dropped off 2 seconds to the back of Dark Viper GT. Do you think he's really struggling with that much on the rears? Like, considering a lot of other people are on the softs right now, and they've all been making the same moves, GB especially, and they've not reported any major problems with the rears.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting scenario here, because Gillen's already gained 3/10 back on Viper through the twists and turns there as we head through turn 7 up through the castle section. So maybe he's just playing games, or maybe he's just over-exacerbating the issue that he's having with those soft tyres. He was close to about 1.5 seconds within Dark Viper there. It could be a straight line speed issue, and I'm sure we'll see that down towards the first corner if it is indeed something to do with his setup.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that one goes. Of course, he didn't have a qualifying session. Was driving Fuji not long ago, and I'd say they're very different circuits and very different styles of driving as well. But we know how fast Gillen is, and he's already up into the top 10, so he's already made a good run. It's correct. Takes the lead of the Grand Prix once again, as Naguera is also going to make a move around the outside of Lolly Nova in the background of your shot there, as we've got Gillen on the radio. And the tyres are 30% worn on the rears on lap 14.
Which is really interesting, because unless the fronts are even more worn, he's saying the softs can do probably around 30 laps on this Grand Prix, which seems a little bit excessive unless he has really been saving tyres in the opening stage of this Grand Prix. Of course, we've had no safety car to try and pull in drivers or close them back together, or maybe tyre wear. And I wonder what Alex Gillen might be cooking here. He's not necessarily looked the quickest. He's lost another 7/10 back to Dark Viper. But, I mean, if he's looking after his tyres till potentially lap 30 when that rain could be expected, this is going to be a brave call from the Kick Sauber.
Yeah, I mean, it will be a really interesting one. I mean, it's probably possible, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. Again, this is a very much unknown for a lot of these drivers. The interesting thing is Meraki clearly struggling on his tyres there because he's dropped a second now. That's put him outside of DRS range, TK. Now, that's a big move there for Cryex, but can he hold that 1 second margin? And are the softs really starting to struggle here?
This will be important. The DRS detection zone isn't until we get onto the back straight past turn number 20, so Meraki hasn't got much battery left. You can see that on his steering wheel. He's going to be really struggling here. If Crysis has got any more than about 15% of battery, let's keep an eye as they cross over the detection zone. Meraki is left stranded, as is Razin Jai. Crysis, he of course from reserve stepping in for Bushy Anch this week, has an almighty advantage in this race now.
And I think that proves Gillen's point. The softs are starting to drop off. As Nolly Nova makes the move, Dark Viper GT also makes the move as Gillen falls down. Oh no, GB! The reason why GB's fallen down is he's making a pit stop, TK.
Yeah, into the pit lane for GB Mediums, going on to that Aston Martin. So the first of the soft tyre runners coming into the pit lane. He's hoping the undercut works somewhat in his favour. He won't be coming out in too much traffic. I think just alongside Matty D, or just behind the Kick Sauber on this occasion, but he will have them to work with, gain the DRS from. And this could be a smart play from the Aston Martin driver.
I wonder if that's going to open any eyes on the guys on the soft tyres. Of course, Razin and Meraki had that, 3-4 second advantage? We've got a quick radio message.
From Yoro Van Geffen, who's partaking in the rest of the group's run at Fuji. We're getting in the groove in Fuji, says Yoro. I'm sure a few of the other drivers, I think Razin, Alex Gillen, Razin, the three other drivers that were partaking with him this afternoon will be excited to hear that, and Tom as well. So the group of 5 making their way through the course of the race a little bit earlier, 8 hours around that circuit, and he's loving life, of course, reservist here in the F1 Creator Series, and we look forward to seeing him back as soon as he can.
I was very confused there for a second, but I worked out what was going on. GB, it's not helped him. He's caught him in the wrong place. He's going to go for it. He's going to absolutely go for it down the inside, and he makes the move stick, and he's past Matty D. Brilliant move as Punju picks up a 3-second time penalty, the first of the afternoon. But what I was saying before that message came up from Yorit is, do we reckon that the guys on the softs that were leading the pack are going to think about pit stop? And as I say it, it wills into existence. Razin is in the pits. Is that to cover off a possible chance GB undercutting him?
I don't think he's necessarily worried about GB undercutting him, but maybe was worried that Meraki would do the same. And as you said, it was a very late call from Razin China in towards the pit lane. He will come out. Let's try and figure this one out. He'll be ahead of GB. That's almost going to be a certainty. But the question will be when Meraki pits, and now almost certainly next lap, where will he be in relation to the Scuderia Ferrari? Watching on board with Alex Gillen here, putting pressure on Riccio 3 down towards turn 3 and 4. And the Kick Sauber, of course, up from P20 on the grid, making his way through the field, dispatching the number of drivers that stand in his way, but the soft tyres in the rear especially starting to fail on him.
I'd just like to point out as well that you say that he didn't get caught by him, but GB's gained, what, half a second, maybe a second on Razin in that undercut?
I'd probably say close to about 1.5 seconds. It's about a 4-second gap from memory.
Which means Meraki could be under some serious pressure here, TK, coming out of the pits.
Well, we'll wait with anticipation. Of course, Razin's got an almighty gap to his teammate in Fratic in front, so he won't get the advantage of DRS like GB got with Dragonflies and Matty D, but I think it is going to be close, and we'll keep an eye when Meraki heads into the pits. Gillen, Tom and Fratic now the only drivers that remain on the soft tyres. We progress through laps 16 and 51. We're over a third race distance. We're approaching on half race distance. Crysis will surely stay out on the mediums, but I think Meraki preparing to come in. Let's keep an eye what the man decides to do. He's going to stay out. Oh no, it's a late call to come in.
Very late call to come in. Does make it through the pits nice and easy. Now we're going to keep an eye on where the drivers are coming out. Gillen stays out. He's staying out for a little bit longer. I am interested to see where Razin Shai and GB is. GB's gained time on Razin, I think this is going to be incredibly close coming out of the pits, TK. I think Meraki's just coming out of the pits now, and Razin has made the jump on him. But here comes GB, and it's a lot closer than I think Meraki would have wanted.
A lot closer than Razin and Meraki would have wanted. GB now has an opportunity to try and chase down the two drivers that were well and truly in the lead of this Grand Prix. Of course, GB back pretty much where he started this race from, but he will know that everybody in front of him will have to pit once again. We saw Mr. Dale dispatching Infratic there for a brief moment as they head through the second sector. We're being told as well, and Infratic's aim is to do 20 laps on the set of softs, so keep an eye on the Scuderia.
Keep an eye, and GB has got DRS, or is in the DRS advantage of Meraki, TK.
This is crucial for GB's race. Of course, the first bout of DRS won't come until the start-finish straight, so he's got to try and hang on in there and potentially even hope that Meraki gets into the DRS of Razin Chai in front, and that could leave the other Scuderia rather tentative as we head down towards turn number 1.
Certainly will do. He's almost in that DRS range of the Scuderia, and GB is well within the DRS range of the Williams. Krajek still leads here on those medium tyres. He's going to go a little bit longer, I reckon. Only done 16 laps on those. We heard, obviously, as you mentioned, TK, that we think Infratic is going to do 20 laps on those. We're going to go to lap 20 on the soft tyres. Has GB got DRS? He does. And Meraki does not have DRS, as Gillen makes another move up into P6. And the DRS will be enabled now as GB is closing in on Meraki. Wow, this race has turned on its head from those pit stops, and he sets fastest lap of the race as well.
He'll be very happy with that fastest lap and DRS on the Williams that stands in front of him. I think Meraki will be quaking rather temporarily in those boots in the cockpit. Of course, the double dose of DRS down towards turn number 3 now for the Aston Martin. He'll have one more attempt, I think, as they head down. Sorry, no, they have no more attempts at the DRS. There's only 2 bouts of it on this circuit. We'll keep an eye and see how GB goes. It's all important now that he follows the Williams through the twists and turns of the second sector in towards Castle. He can't afford to get this wrong. Dragonfly's battling Matty D, but Matty D and the Kicks Alba are coming out on top for the battle for P15.
So right now, just a quick race update for you. Our leading pair of the people that have made the pit stop is Razin Chai. So when everyone makes their pit, Razin will be leading the Grand Prix. So he's basically net race leader at the moment, and Meraki almost within that DRS as well. Gillen up in 6th place, yet to make his pit stop, going a little bit longer on those softs.
Yeah, maybe doing something similar to what we're expecting Infratic to do, maybe take the tyres a little bit longer. But the one thing I don't understand here, if they're expecting rain at the end of this Grand Prix, surely extending the tyres won't be in their best interest if they're going to have to go on to intermediates anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That is going to be really interesting to see. The clouds, I will say, look like they're clouding over a little bit more, TK.
Yep, it has become a rather grey skyline here in Azerbaijan. We'll keep an eye as the weather continues to twist and change. Krajek, I think, still leads as our feed is frozen. We'll keep you updated as soon as we possibly can, and we'll keep you up to date on how everything's going. I'm going to pull up a second stream just to see if I can keep you updated on the race results for the time being. We'll ride on board with GB, at least in my eyes. There is no safety car at the moment. A lot of people will be pleased about that one. GB in P14 on the battle between himself and Meraki. We have got our stream back, and he's actually managed to pip out Meraki. Now GB is up past Meraki, but Razin Chai already past both Safso and Infratic.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. What's happened there?
I'm questioning if the DRS has just allowed Razin Chai to try and catch up to the drivers in front of him. He hasn't been under pressure from Meraki.
No, and Meraki down in 14th place now. GB has made that move, but now GB's got, well, another Ferrari in his way and a RB, as Razin has got Mr. Dale, but Mr. Dale is keeping him hostage at the moment.
Yeah, I think Mr. Dale's argument here might be trying to cause carnage, but actually he's moved to the outside line, trying to hold on. There's a tap there between the Scuderia and the Red Bull racing car. Gillen over the team radio. I'm surprised there hasn't been a safety car already, and I thought we were mere moments away from seeing the first one there.
It could have been very touch and go. So for GB's race, he needs to get past Razin Chai's teammate of Infratic, as Mr. Dale holding on to the back of the move. But here is GB. He is going to make it stick. He's going to get so much slipstream from the cars in front of him, as he is really pulling across. He's really trying to make this all work. He's got to send it. Will he send it on Mr. Dale? Oh, he could have switched to the inside, but he didn't. As looks like Meraki thought about a move as well, but didn't make it stick. Meraki staying where he is for now. Oh, is he? Because he almost under braking. Almost made an absolute pig's ear of that, but somehow held on to it. Mr. Dale defending aggressively to the left-hand side. Very aggressively. Jimmy's going to have to go for it. He does go for it, and he makes it stick. Or does he? Because Dale fights him around the outside. GB trying to tell him to go off on one here, but Jimmy's made it work, and he's up into P9.
He has indeed. Meraki now trying to get past Mr. Dale. I think a more easy dispatch for the Williams. They're still side by side though. They're wheel to wheel. Meraki trying to follow his way through, as is Infratic. Mr. Dale losing 3 positions in 2 corners there. And that's not been the ideal afternoon for Mr. Dale. Rear end kicking out, and I think the tyres starting to give up for the Red Bull racing car as well. But GB, the big story, he's now been released to try and chase down Safso, but Safso is already out of the DRS range of Razin Chai. The V-Cub will become blocker 2. Electric Boogaloo for GB68.
GB can't afford this. He needs to get past Safso. The net race lead is in front of him. I think what he's going to use, TK here, he's going to use Safso as basically like a boomerang. He's going to pull himself forward with the DRS and try and get him to Razin Chai down this back straight, because Razin does not have DRS.
Yeah, this could be the smart play from GB. We've seen how quick he is in a straight line, let alone with the DRS assistance already ahead of Safso as we come in towards the DRS zone. But I think this is going to be Meraki trying to follow them both through. How far can they close down on Razin Chai in front of them? It's only by a couple of tenths. This has not been enough for GB to gain DRS on the drivers in front, and it's only a single bout. Of course, there's 2 detection zones for both areas of DRS here, as Alex Gillen up to P12 after pitting, I'm assuming, just a little bit earlier.
Yeah, Infratic also making that pit stop as well, gone onto the medium tyres. Still a lot of people yet to pit in this Grand Prix. The top 6 still need to pit in this race. Are they holding out for rain, or are they just sticking it out a little bit longer?
I think it's still a little bit too sunny to see any rain come down here this afternoon, but you never know. They don't count the chickens before they hatch. We'll continue through this Grand Prix, lap 21 of 51. It's going to be an interesting one, all about strategy as we continue through. As you said, the question will be, are that front 6 hoping out that the rain's going to come early? And Fratic maybe finding his feet on the newer tyre, hoping they get to grip nice and quickly. We'll continue through the twists and turns of Sector 2. And don't forget, you can come and join the Discord and come meet some of your favourite creators, !Discord in the live chat. We'll get you a link in for the, get you a link to the Discord invite. And don't forget, you can join the conversation as well using hashtag F1 Creator Series on your chosen social media platforms.
Is it best for GB to let Meraki through here and basically use each other to slingshot DRS to get back to Razin Chai? I think that's probably the best option he's got.
I think that would be his best option at the moment as he continues through, and I think he is going to let Meraki go as he pulls to the inside line there. Good racing from GB, playing the smart game as we approach half race distance, which will come at the end of lap 25.
Did you see that little that little rear wobble there from GB? That was the note to Meraki. You can go past me here.
We're always watching for a little rear wobble from GB68, and that was exactly what you thought it was. Down in turn number 3 we go. GB once again retaking P8 on track at the moment, but they're not making any inroads on Razin Chai at the moment. Razin looking rather planted in the corners here at Baku, and that has been working for him in the opening 22 laps of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, it certainly is. GB didn't really gain as much time as I thought he would. Now, Razin is right on the back of Ricky, who he will get DRS from. But has he caught Ricky in the wrong spot, as Krajek still leads this Grand Prix? On those medium tyres, he's looked pretty solid. Now, Razin, where has he caught the Williams driver? Maybe in a decent spot, but he can, and probably will, lose some time here. So if I was GB, I'd be pressing that overtake button and trying to close in.
Yeah, I think he'll be using that to his advantage. 1.3 seconds down from 1.6. Razin Chai through turn 15. We go, caught the Williams car in front, and of course everybody in front of Razin has yet to pit, so will be on dying tyres. Razin can't go for the overtake here. before we get to the DRS detection zone. So he's somewhat stuck behind a flaying Williams on dying tyres. He'll wait for the overtake opportunity. He'll go alongside as we get the DRS detection zone. But look at this. GB is also in DRS range.
And he might have got the DRS detection point, and he might be able to pull off a move here. I think he was just outside of it before he hit the zone, as we've got people coming into the pits. No, he did get DRS. I just saw it open on the flap at the back. So if this is GB, this is GB's race. He needs to try and get past the Williams, but a bit too far back, I think, as that guy Vince is just coming out of the pits. And I think he's going to come out just ahead of Alex Gillen, actually.
He is indeed. Both Aston Martin pipping out Alex Gillen as things stand. GB will look for a move. That was going to be Ricciardo 3 looking for a move down in turn number 3. Trying to hold up Razin Chai as much as he possibly can, but I don't think it's going to work. GB with an audacious dive down the inside of Ricciardo 3-2 through turn number 4 and into turns 5 and 6. And GB certainly not standing on ceremony as Meraki also gets past his own teammate. I think that's going to be a little bit of team orders, but Meraki will be very happy with that one indeed.
Certainly will be. GB's taken no prisoners this afternoon, is he? He's feeling it out here at Baku. He's right up behind Razin Shai, who's once again caught another car, but in probably the worst spot possible, because you can make moves here, but it's very dangerous.
It is indeed. Danger, I believe, is GB's middle name, and that is why his full initials are GDB. It's quite hard to say, so he narrows it down just to GB to make things easier for everybody else to say. But look at the front four. Well, 4th, 5th and 6th, 7th as well, all within a DRS train, as Dark Viper leads our drivers through. Live standings on your screens at the moment. I think this is how things would stand with Nogueira up to 115 points, only 40 off the back of Timo Marduk. And if you're wondering where Timo Marduk is, he's still accepting his graduation or his ceremonial institution to become the Prince of Wales.
And GB's already got past Dark Viper GT, which means he's going to get a run here on Razin Shai down the next DRS zone. Is this the Aston Martin's opportunity to take provisional race lead, or is he a little bit too far back? We know this is a long DRS straight. He's got a little bit of ERS to play for, but he's now within this opportunity to challenge the Ferrari for the lead, the net race lead of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, these DRS zones at Azerbaijan, that second one feels like the longest DRS zone if you're the driver defending. It feels like the shortest DRS zone if you're the driver attacking. It's a really bizarre optical illusion as we continue through the Grand Prix. We approach half race distance, which has come in the blink of an eye, but we continue through the Grand Prix. Razin Chai in the net race lead. Lolly Nova, Nogueira and Kryzix all yet to pit. Don't forget, we're expecting rain at some point around the hour mark, which I think will be coming in the next 15 or so laps.
And GB's right on the back here of Razin Shai, the Aston Martin driver. Of course, yet to have a win here in the Creator Series. And right now he is challenging for net race lead. It's still a long way to go, as he said, TK. But he has looked mighty this afternoon.
He has indeed. He's looked mighty in the past few weeks. GB is putting in some stellar performances alongside getting some community events in with his community. I believe he does a random event every Sunday night, which is always lovely to see, getting his community involved. But now it is going to be a charge down the inside. Look how little battery he's got left. He's going to solely rely on DRS. He pulls once again to the outside line, charging some battery, but it's going to be GB into the net race lead. P4 for the man with 2 letters to his name, and let's see how long he can hold on to that for.
That is the move that could be so crucial later on. But of course, there's another DRS zone, and Razin has a lot more ERS. I don't think GB's going to fight this one too much, because I think we might see a little bit of gamemanship and team play going on here, TK, similar to what we saw with Meraki and Razin a little bit earlier, as we've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. I think that's an Alpine that's gone straight on in that first sector.
Yeah, I think it's Tom, who I think it was either Tom or Ricciardo 3 that might have had a mistake.
No, it's Meraki.
Was it Meraki?
He's down into 7th now. He's 6 seconds off. And he's got wing damage as well. And it's all gone wrong for the Williams driver of Meraki. He's got wing damage on, I believe, both sides.
Yeah, front left end plate missing, front right still looks intact for the Williams driver, but that will really hurt him through the 2nd and 3rd sectors. Any vertical support that he would have been hoping for, well and truly out the window, and already doing a stop, of course, We will keep an eye and, of course, go to Josh and Clipper Corner in the next few moments once he's managed to see what has happened, and he will take us through it.
But you know what that has done, TK? Look at the gap it's opened up between GB and Razin. It's now a two-way fight for this net race lead because GB has got no pressure behind him, and all he's got is the pressure in front of him.
He certainly does. Half race distance. We'll keep an eye, and we are being told Tom did go straight on in turn 2, so that might have been the yellow flag. Nogueira not standing on ceremony here. He's up to P2. GB as well, following through for P4 on track. I think we're going to throw it over to Josh and Clipper Corner, who can tell us exactly what happened.
Yeah, so Meraki dropping out of the DRS actually already of GB and Razin in front, so he was already losing a bit of time here, but heading down into turn number 3, just got it wrong on the brakes, heading into the runoff, clips the wall on the right-hand side there, and then from that point on, it's all over really, at least in the fight for the lead for the time being. But yeah, front wing damage for Meraki and lots of time lost as well.
Yep, unfortunate for Meraki there. Thank you, Josh, for keeping us all updated with everything going on behind the scenes at this rate. I think we'll have a feeling we'll speak to you just a little bit later on as drivers' attention spans do start to fail. Of course, it's a long race, a long time to keep attention to a peak of efficiency, and that is a little slow from Nogueira, I think, as he headed through the castle section.
Yeah, one of these medium tyres are starting to drop off for the lead runners. But of course, as you mentioned, TK, it's one of those circuits that is mentally draining on you. We talk about circuits that are physically draining, mentally draining around a circuit like Baku, stuff like Singapore and Monaco, where you are so close to the walls on every occasion. And of course, when the rain comes down, if we believe it is, that's going to add another element that these drivers have to pay attention to.
It really is, and obviously we know how hard it is to concentrate in a 100 race, let alone when the rain becomes a factor. We'll keep an eye and keep you informed as much as we possibly can as soon as we get an updated estimate as to when rain is coming down. But Kryzik still leads this Grand Prix. Nogueira and Lolly Noba having a good old scrap here into turn number 1. Lolly Noba managing to pip out the Mercedes driver as things stand. Can GB try and retake P4? I don't think he's going to be close enough on this occasion as we run into turn number 1. No, he's going to stay there and stay in P5 just behind Razin Chai and work together with the Ferrari to try and reel in the Mercedes and the Haas.
As long as he's got DRS, that is fine. We just got a quick update. Rain is in 32 minutes.
Let's try and do some napkin math. It's about 1 minute 40 a lap here at the moment. Let's divide that by... Oh, we got a yellow flag. What's that? It's one of the Mercedes. McLaren's in the wall. I think that's Punju.
That Punju, he's in the wall and he's carried on going. It's got front wing damage, but Mylander not needed, which will be a sigh of relief for Razin and GB. But Punju will have to make a pit stop here, looking a little bit frustrated and befuddled what's going on. I'm sure Josh can get a clip of that. But yeah, we'll see what's happened a bit later. But also just pointing out, it's also a storm that's coming in, TK, in 32 minutes' time. And we've got a rough estimate of when that's going to be appearing.
So some napkin maths here. 20 laps is about 32 minutes. And that would take us onto lap 48 of this Grand Prix with 3 laps to go. If it buckets it down with only 3 laps to go, this is going to be incredible. Punju, spun no damage. Well, that must have been damage from earlier then for the Papaya McLaren.
Yeah, because he does have front left end plate damage. Razin Shai, by the way, is right on the back of Nogueira here. And I think GB may have lost a little bit of speed through the corner because Nogueira is being overtaken by the Ferrari and GB no longer behind the net race leader.
Yeah, not as close as he would have liked to be. GB, though, trying to reel in the drivers in front. He's got to be very careful not to lose DRS as well. And we will keep an eye on this battle as we go through, see how the quartet continue to evolve. But I think Lolly Noba and Nogueira will be losing out very, very soon. Of course, the older tyre will succumb to the newer tyres of Razin Chai and GB68. DRS comes to the aid of Razin Chai here. Up to P2. He's 1 position off the lead, 4.2 seconds back from Kryzik's. GB with an almighty dive down the inside of Nogueira here. Tried it, but I think he was a day late and a dollar short. They lock wheels, but GB managing to get through by luck or by crook.
Oh, he's had to make that move, didn't he? Had to make it stick. And maybe it just put Nogueira off a little bit, but he's made it stick and made it through. GB's now going to go through the first sector. We are going to now just take a little bit of a breather and throw it over to Josh. Josh, you got Punju's clip there.
Yeah, another mistake. We're past half race distance now. This was lap 26, heading down towards the start of the final sector. Got it through this corner, right, where you see quite a lot of mistakes. Normally, it's heading into this final braking zone of the lap. Just takes a lot of curb on the entry, and then getting onto the power, you see, loses the car, and that is him round. He doesn't actually pick up any damage here. I believe that was picked up much earlier on in the race.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Josh. We got a safety car out on track. We'll come back just a little bit later. Ricky is out of the Grand Prix. Where has that happened? And that is going to be a clip to review just a little bit later on. I'm trying to keep an eye on the track map at the bottom of your screens, and I have a feeling that's assuming going to be through castle section.
And the thing is here, TK, that safety car is going to do a number of things. Everyone leading is coming into the pit, including GB and Razin, getting a fresh set of tyres. The other thing it's going to do is it's going
Naguera's gone on hards.
Naguera's gone on hards. Oh my goodness me! And
sorry,
that is a huge mistake.
There.
That's surely a DSQ.
Well, he's got 3 laps to pit off of them. This is going to be an interesting situation. He'll have to pit again within the next 3 laps to remove those hard tyres. But under safety car, that is an almighty bottle from the Mercedes driver, because he will lose a considerable amount of positions as they are already bunched up under the safety car here.
I'd like to see his reaction to see what that was. Hopefully, you might get a clip of his reaction going off into those tyres. But yeah, just looking at now the grid. So just a quick update for everyone. Kraex did pit. Razin Shai did also pit. So did Lolly Nova, GB, Naguero, your top 7. Gillen and that guy Vince stayed out on their set of tyres and have not made a pit stop here.
Interesting. Gillen and Vince's tyres only 9 and 6 laps old, respectively. Matty D has made the same mistake. Hard tyres for both Kick Saubers here, and they, for one of the Kick Saubers and one of Mercedes, and they will both have to pit again. Matty D already at the back of the pack. That won't impact him as much as Naguera would have, but Naguera, running in P7 at the moment, will be absolutely fuming in that cockpit, knowing he has to come in the next 2 laps.
So the interesting thing is here, as we ride on board with Razin Shai, he's on those medium tyres, brand new set of mediums, and he's right behind the back of Gillen, who's not on a new set of tyres. Kraex is on a set of softs. If your math was correct, TK, we were expecting the storm around lap 48, correct?
According to well, this kind of changes it if it's based on time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The safety car is going to go out for probably the next 3 laps if people are going to have to make pit stops. So it's going to be really interesting to see when the storm actually comes now. The guys on the soft tyre are going to be able to go a little bit longer and a bit faster on their set of softs. Yeah, they're going to be able to go faster on their set of softs, but they may not be able to go as long. The medium tyres are probably the fastest tyre to have on, but they're going to take a few laps to get started.
Yeah, assuming the safety car does its full 3 laps, because Matty D and Naguera will both have to pit and catch back up to the pack again. I wonder if Naguera is going to dive in on this first lap, or maybe try and run him for a couple and Naguera into the pit lane almost immediately. So I'm going to assume it was lap 48 as a rough estimate. I'm going to bring that down to probably lap 45. Of course, drivers travelling about 60% of their full speed. But well, let's examine what exactly happened to Ricky 03 just a few laps ago. Josh, what do you got for us?
Yep, so as we saw actually with GB in qualifying, it's coming into the castle section. He's had a pretty decent race, I'd say, so far. But yeah, onto the brakes here, just locks up and into the barrier. Pretty much the exact same crash as we saw from GB. And you can see the frustration as well. Race over for Ricky 03. We'll just quickly watch that one once more. Slow it down a little bit as well as we're coming in. It's just a small mistake there as he comes onto the brakes, turns in, and the car locks up straight into the barriers. And yeah, race over, unfortunately, for the Williams driver.
Yeah, unfortunate for Ricky 03 there. Well, we'll keep an eye on the rest of the field. Thank you so much, Josh, for your input over the course of this race. But we'll go to our race leaders. We'll keep an eye on them for the next couple of moments. Alex Gillen will be in P2, of course, after starting from the back of the field. He's made up 18 positions in this Grand Prix so far. An almighty run for Gillen in this Grand Prix.
Yep, certainly almighty, but of course he's on a used set of tyres here, TK. 10 laps old on those mediums. I'll be interested to see what his wear is actually like on circuit. But yeah, we're going to have to be out for at least, I'd say, 1 more lap under the safety car.
Yeah, I think the question here will be whether Punju can try and catch up with the pack in time to prevent that, but only heading down into turn 7 at the moment. I don't think he's going to be close enough to try and challenge or at least get into the pack before the safety car line. Of course, we can have it come in late here in Baku with the long run down towards the pit lane, but I think Bert Mylander will most certainly stay out for at least another lap in this Grand Prix. Krysics will lead though from Alex Gillen, from Razin Chai and from Dat Guy Vince as your top 4. GB and Razin Chai, of course, the 2 drivers that were on an amazing strategy before the safety car came out, but this has thrown everything quite literally up in the air.
Yeah, it certainly has, and I'm going to be really interested to see what happens, and then it's going to see how it goes. So I'll be back in a few minutes. We're going to see Josh on screen very shortly.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the safety car at the moment. We have at least one more lap to go in this safety car period, 3.7 miles of this Baku circuit. Almost everybody will be catching up, although Hayden Gullis is headed into the pit lane with another advantage. So he'd only been on the mediums for 2 laps. I can't expect him to change tyres too dramatically unless he's replacing his front wing from some earlier damage that we haven't seen. But Punju making his way through. He's caught back up with the field. But Josh, is there anything that you've seen from behind the scenes that might raise some concerns? Maybe drivers talking about the weather later on in this Grand Prix?
Not too much. I think the driver's very much just focused on the race in the now at this point. I mean, tyre wear has been a big issue, I think, for quite a few of the drivers. The rear wear around this track especially really seems to be catching some of the drivers out. Lots of rear sliding. I know Alex was complaining about it earlier on his soft stint. But yeah, definitely going to be interesting whether some of these drivers, especially the ones on the soft tyres, if they can get to the rain, that will definitely help them out. If they have to make another pit stop, it's going to cost them quite a lot of time.
Have any drivers been talking about when they're expecting rain to come in? I think we were making a rough estimate about lap 45 here on the broadcast. I don't know if any drivers have maybe thought that far ahead yet.
Well, I've just heard actually from Alex's stream, 10 to 15 minutes is what the engineer is saying. So how accurate that is, I'm not sure, but it could be coming in the not too distant future.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much, Josh. And well, keep your ear to the ground and keep us updated. 10 to 15 minutes for the rain forecast. That will be about 7 to 10 laps, according to my napkin math, as we are on lap 31 of 51, and we are expecting Bert Mylander. There we go, as race control does give us confirmation. Bert Mylander heading back in towards the pit lane. And now, Alex, what is going to happen on this restart? What are we expecting? Any carnage?
Well, there's always carnage on a safety car restart. You know the old motto, TK, safety cars lead to safety cars. And with cars out of position in terms of pit stops, guys on softs, guys on mediums, and of course a threat of rain in the distance, it could be anyone's race still. 20 laps to go when they cross the line. I can't call this one just yet. I think it's still a long way to go.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that are still going to influence this Grand Prix. Krysics using all of the track available to them to weave left and right, try and get some heat in. And they've gone for an early jump here. Caught Alex Gillen napping. What an amazing jump from the Alpine car. This can leave Gillen vulnerable to Razin Chai and Dat Guy into the background. That's Hayden Gullis wishing everybody good luck.
I think he's going to need it, as it looks like GB's trying to go around the outside of Lonnie Nova into the first corner. It's brave, it's bold. Can he make it stick? Lonnie Nova trying to defend it best he can. He's going to get the better exit on the soft tyres, but GB is not giving up this afternoon. The man has fought through tooth and nail to get through the grid, and has he made it stick? Has he made it work? No, he hasn't. He's still trying to fight around the outside though. He's going to get the inside line for the next corner. Lonnie Nova defends best he can. Oh, GB's so close to making that move. Can't make it now. He's now going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, that was the soft tyre winning out over the medium tyre. Araguri on the back of Meraki here. Of course, that earlier spin for the Williams driver, making his race more like a comeback effort, much like Araguri, of course, with that qualifying ban to his name from this Grand Prix. He started down in P16. He finds himself in P9 at the moment. But as we said, I think there's still a lot more for our drivers to try and contend with as we run through this Grand Prix. Krysics still leads though, as he has done for the majority of this race after dispatching Razin Chai and Baraki at the start of this Grand Prix. Gillen though, well and truly on the back on used medium tyres, and the kicks out will have to be careful to not avoid attacking if it means preventing the defence.
Yeah, that is for sure. But those mediums are not going to be in the healthiest of state compared to the guys around them. And we see some guys on the soft tyres are pulling away from the guys on the new mediums. And the softs, as we expected, have got the better grip at the start of this race, including the man behind GB, Dark Viper GT, who is right on the back of the Aston Martin driver. And GB's lost out the Dark Viper, or has he? Because can he defend it down the inside? I don't think he can. I think Dark Viper has made it stick, or has he? Because Dark Viper's made it a little bit too deep into the corner, and it's allowed GB to go back in front of him here. But he's going to lose out on the DRS in front. Oh no, he got it because they were wheel to wheel into the zone. But it looks like Razin Shai is back past Alex Gillen, and he's up into second now.
Yeah, new mediums versus old mediums well and truly coming to fruition there. Razin Shai pitting, of course, under the safety car that came ever so slightly earlier. Lolly Noble on fresh softs just behind That guy Vince, who also refused to pit, so the Aston Martin that kicks out, but both could be in trouble from drivers that stand behind them. Purple first sector for Razin Shai on this safety car restart with the DRS becoming enabled. And I think it's a question of if not when he'll try and catch Kryzix in the lead of this Grand Prix.
He was so close to the wall going through the castle section. He's absolutely flying in that Scarlet Red Ferrari. He is flying through the streets of Baku, and he wants this race lead back. He is within DRS range, but only just dropping out of it now. Of course, the detection zone is a little bit further down the road. Will he get there? Will he stay within that 1 second margin? It looks like he may do, because he's got that slipstream effect. You can tell he's closing in right now.
Yeah, it's incredibly close. He will have the DRS effect as they run down towards turn number 1, and we could see the lead of the race change for the first time in a very long while here in Baku. Razin Shai with the run. He's got the slipstream, the rear wing opens as well, as we see Datko Vince go for a move on Alex Gillen further back, and I think Lolly Noba's going to follow them through. Razin Shai will sit in behind, get the fastest lap of the race with a 1:40.4, but Lolly Noba dispatching Alex Gillen on the fresh soft tyres. Now this is where the traction will come to the hands of the Haas, but GB68 not making moves as he's now got Gillen in front of him.
Yeah, and it looks like Lolly Noba's not finished making moves. He's going to get past that guy Vince into third place, and he's up into the top 3 now as he begins his charge for the front 2, who are battling very hard right now, as El Regiri is in 7th place. Of course, as you mentioned, started that qualifying band, now in the top 7. Got the man GB in front of him. GB needs to make the move on Gillen as well, because he wants to have a piece of that that podium pie, as I'm going to call it.
He does indeed. He's had a lot of podiums in his career, quite considerably over the course of this season. It always seems to be the bridesmaid, though, for GB68. Can't quite find a date to the wedding. But El Reguri 1 second off the back of GB as things stand, but closing in, and it is going to be incredibly close. Whether the Red Bull can try and challenge the Aston Martin on towards the back straight, potentially burning some batteries. We run down towards turn number 15. I think the Red Bull racing car of El Reguri, who's cut the corner. What a move there. He's done that to try and secure DRS.
But it's gained him a 3-second time penalty. And I mean, is that going to be really worth it come the end of the Grand Prix?
I think he feels that it is going to work in his favour. Maybe he feels like he can try and charge down. But we'll keep an eye as we see GB gaining with an almighty straight line speed on Alex Gillen down towards turn number 1. We'll keep an eye as both Aston Martins are reunited here. El Reguri, who cut that final corner, is he going to try and challenge anything further back? No, he's too far back on this occasion, and he will have to settle for Alex Gillen just ahead of him. But 9/10 to the improvement. This Dark Viper into the pit lane, fresh hards for himself, and a wing change.
Wing change. I wonder if he got that damage in the first corner or going around the outside of GB and not obviously making it stick. We obviously saw him lose it afterwards. Gillen now down to 6th as GB has made that move. He's now got his teammate, that guy Vince, in front of him, who is on older tyres. I mean, there may be some team games going into play there. Surely GB wants to make that move fast. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. It looks like it's a Red Bull of Hayden Gullis, and it's a safety car. And Hayden, well, he's completely out of a front wing, and he's into the wall.
Between Gullis there. I think that is what has come together. I'm sure we'll be able to get a full confirmation of both POVs in just a brief moment of time. And of course, we'll go over to Josh in Clipper Corner in a brief moment. But safety car once again, this probably brings that period where we're expecting rain ever closer once again. We probably brought our estimate to lap 45 in the first instance. Hold on, team radio from Punju. I'm so sorry, Hayden. Well, I think that claims ownership of that mistake. Going back to what I was saying, that brings the rain element closer to us in multitudes upon multitudes. 45 is where I made my original estimate. I'm going to drop it down to 31 now. Sorry, 41 now.
41, yeah. I mean, if it was 31, your estimate was completely off the margin. But yeah, I imagine they're going to be making the pit stops now. I could see that guy Vincent Gillen coming into the pits now. But is it too much of a risk? They're going to get fresh tyres, but if that rain comes down, they're going to be in no man's land, and I think they're staying out.
Yeah, I think surely you stay out here. You're pitting effectively under a safety car pack as things stand. I mean, Hayden will have to come in for a fresh wing. There's no way he can continue to race like that. But we have got Tom and Aguera both in the pit lane. Are they going to go for intermediates here?
I'd love to see if they go for inters.
No, softs for Aguera and softs for Tom. Team Radio Hayden. Eli.
I want to see if Hayden goes for inters.
I don't think he will. I think it'll be fresh softs almost certainly for the V Cup. Yeah, fresh red wall Pirellis. And we'll have a front wing change as well as everybody catches back up to the pack. And let's throw over to Josh in Clipper Corner. He's got 2 clips for us. And let's see what went on. Oh, we'll just unmute for yourself there, bud.
First and foremost, it's going to happen eventually. This is the incident between Punju and Hayden heading down into turn 3, just a bit too late on the brakes, hits the V-carb wide into the barriers, and you can see, yeah, that is why we have that safety car out. Really unfortunate there, just such a small bit of contact. We'll just watch that back once again. It's just such a small into that barrier, and unfortunately that's a race over for the V-carb. Also had just quickly this clip from Elray as well. We'll just get forward a little bit. This was when he picked up that 3-second time penalty. He is just dropping outside. He's right on the edge of that 1-second margin with GB, and I think maybe just trying to secure that DRS. Maybe thinking if he does lose the DRS, he's going to lose more time in the long run, and securing that DRS in the slipstream just to help himself out a bit more.
Yep, no trouble. Thank you so much, Josh. And once again, for all the clips and the behind-the-scenes knowledge. We'll come back to you, I'm sure, when the rain does continue to fall. And let's head back to our main broadcast. There we go, everybody on the screen. I think there was an interesting move from Elray Guri, trying to hold on to that DRS. Of course, it got him the 3-second time penalty. But whether he felt that would be outweighed by losing out to the DRS of the cars in front, maybe that's the payoff he was willing to make.
Yeah, it possibly could be, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens later on, as that guy Vince is in the pits here, and a very interesting decision to make a pit stop, obviously under safety car. What tyres are going on that car? It's a front wing change for that guy Vince, and I wonder if Josh can find us maybe a little clip of why that's happened, because I did not see him having damage before.
I say, surely that must have happened under safety car conditions, because there's no way he's going to pit without getting the damage under the safety car conditions. No, don't worry, Dago Vince is not stuck in his pit lane like Valtteri Bottas in Monaco. He will teleport at some point, hopefully. We have got a few drivers stuck in the pits by the look of it.
Oh, that's a... Oh.
As Dark Viper is also just stuck in the pits. We'll keep an eye on this as we continue through the Grand Prix. The pit crews are being paid overtime. I can confirm that. And there we go. Oh, is that someone going backwards? What?
Wait, what?
Is that Dark Vipers and Inters? Matty, Viper, and Hayden Gullis all on intermediates.
Oh, it's called the buffer ledge grab from.
So we have everybody back on the field, at least in some capacity, and we have got 3 drivers on the intermediates. Ultra Killer being the only driver that pit there to remain on the softs. So I now am questioning how close the drivers are going to be to rain conditions. According to Dan Gilligan in chat, Vince tabbed out, car teleported, he hit the back of GB and lost the wing as a result, and that is unfortunate to see from himself. Also, according to chat, 5 minutes to rain, according to Matty's pit engineer.
Ooh. So, if it's 5 minutes till rain, that's going to be, what, 3 laps? Maybe 2?
Probably on the safety car, probably 2.
So, if it's been 2 laps, then there's a chance that that Matty could be leading if the rain comes down very heavily.
Well, that's a scary thought, isn't it? Matty D leading the Grand Prix in the Creator Series.
Isn't it just an interesting thought? Because he's the leader of this intermediate pack. I mean, he is yet to score a podium in 49 starts here. He's had 16 DNFs over his illustrious career. There's 2 more coming into the pits. And are they going for inters as well?
Yep, they are, and I think that is going to be intermediates for Datko Vince and Ultra Killer. This is a pity for Datko Vince. If he'd gone that lap earlier and chosen intermediate, but maybe just a little bit too focused on that front wing. So Matty D will be our front leading inters runner at the moment. Lap 38 to 51. I think my prediction for lap 41 for rain here is pretty spot on.
I think you might be spot on here, TK. Now, the inters, of course, they have a little bit of practice on these because they run the qualifying inters to start the session. But, well, some people are saying 5, some people are saying 9. It seems to be a bit of a lottery when the rains are actually going to come down. I mean, TK, how are we going to call this one for the end? We do have do you want a quick jump to the quick book to see what happened to Vince under safety car?
Yeah, let's do that. I think we've got time for that because we've got 2 drivers still in the pit lane, Vince and Ultra Killer. Let's go see what happened to said driver, and Josh has got all the information for us.
Yeah, so he tabbed out of his game actually, just trying to take a moment away. Tabs out into another window, screen goes black, and then when he comes back, yeah, you can see the wing flying off there, I think into the back of Alex Gill, and unfortunately, as you can see, he's got yellow wing damage there, and he had to come into the pit lane to fix that one. I think a couple of illegal overtakes getting involved there, unfortunately. But he has made that pit stop again, eventually onto the intermediates as well, so he would have lost plenty of positions either way.
Yeah, unfortunate for that guy Vince there, but thank you so much for the behind the scenes. I'm sure, as we said, this won't be the last time we are coming to you in this Grand Prix, as McLaren and Aston Martin are deciding to take a day off. There we go, Aston Martin finally released their driver, and over halfway around the track.
That's quite an impressive pit stop.
Well, they've invented teleportation. Someone tell Vince, because I think he might want to use that to his advantage. We have got notification from race control that we are going racing once again. We've got 5 drivers on the intermediates. Between 4 and 9 minutes until the rain comes, it is getting darker here at Baku. And the question will be, how well can Matty and every other driver behind him, how well can they look after their tyres until the rain does come? And Razin Chai has well and truly put his foot to the floor, and we go racing for lap 39 of 51. Kryzix will try and charge him down to turn 1, but the Ferrari's got an almighty jump.
He certainly does, and it's definitely darkening here at Baku. The streets of Baku looking not as sunny as they were at the start of this Grand Prix. Razin still leads from Kryzix, Loinover and GB, your top 4. And there is people making moves in the background. Matty D is jumping up. Punju's jumped down to 18th, along with Mr. Dale, and something has happened towards the back of the grid. But the intermediate runner of Matty is in 13th right now. He's the leader of this Inter pack. I think Punju's trying to make his way back through the intermediate pack here. But is that rain going to come anytime soon? Saturday radio. Expecting some rain soon. Expect drops soon. Wow. I mean, it's going to be very interesting the next few laps here, TK.
Certainly is. I think the question how close it's going to be is Matty D, Dark Viper, Gullis, Vince and Ultra Killer all try and look after those intermediate tyres. I think Punju and Mr. Dale came together in towards the second corner. That must be what's caused both of them to drop considerably down the order. And it is looking rather slidey for Punju, because look at how difficult they are holding on. Tom gets past Dragonflies up to P10. Confirmation raindrops are falling here in Baku as Matty D gets 3 seconds worth of penalties for cutting track limits. And I think the intermediates have got a time frame on them. How well are they going to hold up?
It's going to be very interesting to see how well they hold up. Indeed, it's definitely raining now on circuit. So what do our leaders do? They pull to the left-hand side, and there you can see the rain coming off of the halo there. They stay out. Sector 3, yellow flag. Dale's out of the race. It's surely going to be a safety car.
Well, this has changed everything around. Dale's lost it out of turn number 19, just before turn 20. Drivers heading into the pit lane. Ultra Killer gets a 10-second penalty for a severe collision with Mr. Dale, and almost everybody will peel into the pit lane. But hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on to your hats, because Matty D is going to be leading a Grand Prix here, because everyone in front of him is going to have to pit.
And they've got past the safety car as well. There will be a delta involved, but Matty will be leading the Grand Prix. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. I'm not exactly sure. We've got, what, another 11 laps to go.
We have got, 11 laps to go when we cross the line.
And we say there's a storm on the horizon. It's raining, obviously. It may not be able to see it on track, but it is definitely raining. So I'm going to be very interested to see what's going to happen. I'm sure we're going to get that clip of what happened with Mr. Dale in a couple of moments' time from our lovely clip booker, Josh. But the rain is coming down now. You can see it on your screens.
You can do indeed. Cryzix, who was leading the race, Razin Chai Lolly Noba GB. Oh, team radio from Matty D. Please let me cook, says the young man from the UK. Down in P9 at the moment, but he knows everybody in front of him will have to pit. GB, Ariguri, Alex Gillen, Meraki, and Infratic. And we'll continue through. We'll wait for the pit stops to occur, and then we will head over to Josh in Clip Corner. My apologies, I'm going to call you the wrong name. Probably at least once more in this broadcast, because I am horrible with names, as Alex knows. He's been alongside me more than once in the commentary booth, and I just can't get names right. Josh and Clip Corner will be coming in a brief moment of time, but if we can see the leader gap back to Matty D, because I think this is going to be a little bit close between our drivers. And there we go, 10 seconds back to Matty D. This is going to be closer